I'm bringing you some funny news today. Nothing serious, nothing major. It's just that you read this article and you go, at first of all, the title was a little misleading. It was a little confusing because it's like 14-year-old daughter was excluded for being too hot. And you hear this, it's like a 14-year-old being too hot. Like, since when are British women too hot? In what world? Are we living in the upside down? Like you're talking about women from the UK, right? But no, apparently what they mean is that in Britain, right? Like in Britain, the temperature there was too hot. And she wanted to take off her uniform, and for that, she broke the rules of the academy. And we know that rules are there to oppress people. You never find a rule that's just common sense. Because of that, now it's in the Daily Mail. The mother is very angry, etc., etc. Now, I can empathize with the girl a little bit, but I can't empathize with the mother. I'll tell you why I empathize with the girl. When I was a kid, I went to this prestigious high school, state high school, Negruzi. And this high school also had the uniform. It's the only high school in my town which had a uniform. And the uniforms were atrocious. Number one, they were very expensive. Number two, they were very uncomfortable. Number three, they were black. So in summertime, it was really hot in them. And they weren't thick enough so that during the winter you would freeze your ass off. Right? Like it was the design atrocious. But the reason you were forced to wear it was that number one, it was about prestige. Number two, it was about the pride that you're part of that particular high school. It was also about to teach students about rules, regulations, right? And also it was that if you want to skip school and go to an internet cafe, the cops that might be there would escort you to your parents or escort you back to school. Something which, I guess a lot of people might not like that, but the schooling system was entirely like Liberty Zero. I don't want to get into it. But anyway, right, so there were a lot of students that complained, but you know what? Like, you knew the deal when you chose to go there. Now, of course, the kids, most of them had the choice made for them by the parents, but this is why I don't get the mother. Like, you knew that if you send your kid to this school, she's going to have to wear a uniform. You knew the rules. So why are you complaining now? Like, if people don't send their kids to that school, eventually they're going to find out the reason and they're going to have to change because they want to have business. They want to have students going there. There is this expression in Romania. You can't have a cock in your ass and your soul in heaven. Right? Like, you need to make a choice. Which one do you want? So if this school is so prestigious that you want to send your daughter there, you know that there are some rules that she needs to follow. And this is what pisses me off. It's like, what happens when you actually go and work at the corporation? Because I understand, feminism is all about liberating women. Liberating them from staying home and doing the dishes into going to a multinational corporation and sucking dick at a clown at McDonald's, right? Like that is female liberation. Like, she needs to go to work at KFC. That is what a true, independent woman does. Other women, they stay home and they take care of the kids. That is horrible. That is patriarchy. That is misogyny. You need to do the dishes at KFC, not to do the dishes at home. But when you go to work at KFC, you have to wear a uniform, and it's quite hot in there as well. It's quite unpleasant. I did work at KFC, you can't take the uniform off, unfortunately. If you go to med school and you become a surgeon, you have to clip your nails. You have to cut your hair if you want to be a surgeon, right? Or, wear one of those bonnets that are very uncomfortable. But I've yet to see a female surgeon that has long hair. Maybe they exist somewhere in a fictional land next to hot British women. But most people that go to surgery, they cut their hair. And these are things you need to do in order to adapt to your work environment. And I find it very difficult for this, mother to train her kids some responsibility. But anyway, right, so I'm curious where the father is. What did the father have to say? I'm looking at the pictures of this lady, and like this is resting bitch face level mastery. Am I not right? Like this woman, when she grows up, she's definitely going to be able to have it. The uniform is ridiculous. I never like these little ties. It's like they need to be like a tie goes all the way there. What the fuck is this shit? You know? At least use a bow tie if you want something small. But yeah, you know, it's like this clearly was a school. Like I don't know anything about this school, but this clearly was a school that had a prestige in the past, and it was probably men only, I guess. And you know, women started going in, and now they're complaining about the uniform. And you need to be more inclusive. You can't expect a woman to dress office-like. So a mother has branded her daughter's school absolutely pathetic after she claims her child was excluded for being too hot in her uniform. No, she wasn't being excluded for being too hot in her uniform. She was excluded for taking off her uniform, which is the same rule that would apply to a guy. I think you believe that your progeny is the best shit ever since the coming of Jesus, but unfortunately, there are rules that everyone is to abide by. You knew the rules when you sent your daughter to Kingston, Yorkshire. So why did you send her there? You're the one that abused your kid. Clearly she can't handle it. She's too hot. The air conditioning is racist, I know. According to the 14-year-old's mother, she had taken part of her uniform after it became too hot for her to do her work. Wow, what type of work environment is there that you can't wear a coat, huh? Again, this is Britain. Have you guys been to Britain? Like, these people freak out the moment there's a snowflake that lands on a sidewalk. They can't comprehend it. They shut down the schools. Like that's how hot it is in Britain, right? That's like the temperature there. So like hearing it was too hot. Like what? Is it Sahara? Huh? What is it? Qatar? Sirius Academy North. Wow, Sirius Academy. That sounds cool. Is now offering a summer reintegration meeting following the exclusion on Tuesday. The school's policy states that this could include a behavior agreement from the pupil, while not being able to comment on specific cases. In other words, they fear the backlash. The weak fear the strong. In this case, the strong is the mother and her connections to the media. So the Academy's head of school says any decision adhere to their persistence, defiance, or abuse policy. Persistent defiance or abuse. Why do you have to complicate it so much? It's the policy of wear the fucking uniform when on school grounds. You knew what you signed up for, so fucking wear it. And if you don't like it, start complaining about it, start protesting about it while wearing it. You know, until the law changes, until the rule changes. I thought British are civilized folk. Mr. Shan said pupils are being excluded for stupid things and added that her daughter has just started year 10, her vital first GCSE year. Alright, Mrs. Shan, you're responsible for child abuse. Why would you send your kid to a school that excludes pupils for stupid things? Your fault. She blasted the ridiculous uniform rules students have to stick to the whole road side. I'm generally curious, like, you know, this is just her opinion, but why didn't the newspaper go into the school grounds to find how many kids actually love the uniforms? Because believe it or not, there are kids that are actually proud of being in a prestigious high school and get to show off with the uniform. God, that resting bitch face. Like, I close my eyes and I'll see it in my nightmares. My daughter has been excluded for school just because she took her blazer off for being too hot. What would they rather, sit there and do the work or not? I don't see the problem with having their blazer off if they are working. Yeah, would you say the same at KFC? No, you probably wouldn't. Like, they would just fire her. But what if she's in an office environment? You know, like, and she has to wear it. Office rules. Too complicated, huh? Police uniform. What if she's a policewoman? You know, and she goes on the street looking for who writes Islam is questionable on their house. Doesn't she have to wear the uniform regardless if it's hot or not? My God, like these first world problems. And I look at this lady and I can definitely tell she's first world. Like, look at her makeup. Look how well trimmed her eyebrows are. That costs money. I don't have money. She has money. I said I won't be sending her home. It's absolutely pathetic. I agree there should be rules, but sometimes it feels hot and you can't get your work done. Unexcusable. No. You can't get your work done, even if it's too hot. You know, like, even if it's too hot. We keep talking about equality between men and women. and we keep talking about how men should lower the standards. No, women should raise their standards. All right? I can work in hot conditions while wearing a uniform. Policemen can work in hot conditions. Firemen, like what is a fireman gonna do? It's like, it's too hot. She's not being excluded for not putting it on. She's being excluded for being defiant. That's what they are saying. Well, why is she defiant? She probably gave sass. Like, I genuinely think this is what happened, right? Like, you usually only get half of the story, but, she was obviously told to put it on and started giving sass, and this is why it's come to this. It's ridiculous the rules the schools have now. How many times are you going to repeat that? Is she like a parrot? It is ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous. The staff said they have high expectations of how their students behave and dress. So it was also about behavior. See, my God, I'm like the fortune teller. I predict the future. In response, the head school at the academy said, we can't make any comments on the individual case. This is a matter of reintegration meeting, blah, blah, blah. As per our policy, cases are persistent defiance or abuse towards staff can carry an exclusion. So again, like this probably wasn't the first time that she was there to cause the revolution, to change the patriarchal ways of the school. But unfortunately, the school realized that it's a lot easier to change her than to change their rules. In other words, Missy, go home, take some time off, think about what you did. And if you want to come back to our school, you talk to us. If you don't want to come back to our school, go somewhere else. There is liberty, there is freedom of association. You can choose other schools. It's fine. All right? But if you want to come here, you have to abide by our stupid little rules and things you disagree. But tell you what, when you finish our university, or our school, you can become a professor here. And if you become a professor here, maybe one day you become the dean, and then you can change the rules. How about that? This is the high expectation for the students, blah, blah, blah. I'm curious, like, what did the people say? Quite clearly not the whole story here. Well, what do you expect when they only interview the mother? It's like, is the mother going to be like, that was horrible, she behaved in unnatural ways? Surprise she's allowed in the school with all that slap on. The cop faces says it all grows up. This is why the journalists hate the comment section. Right? And you get like the comments below have been moderated. It's because they have tried their best to slander this school in this article. This is what this article is. It's a slander piece, right? Like the mother obviously has connections to the press. There's only two types of journalists nowadays. Journalist articles. All of them are editorials. Like very, very, very rarely you're going to find some actual reporting. But there's two types of editorial: puff pieces and slander pieces. Literally, that's it. And in this case, it's a slander piece because they decided to apply the same rules to one of the untouchables, one of the marginalized people, the marginalized majority, which are women. So that's my point. Let me know what you think. Looking forward to hearing from you guys in the comment section.